There are people who remember and care and will travel any lengths to make the GI's lot a happier one, when and where they can. People like Bob Hope and Jerry Colonna, Janis, Paige and Anita, Bryant and Jill St.John, Les Brown and his band of renown, John Bubbles and Anna Marie Alpagetti, and that out-of-this-world Miss World, Ann Sidney. And now here's Bob Hope on the most important road he's yet discovered, the road to Vietnam. The place, Bien Hoa, the GIs, the men of the 34th Tactical Group of the Military Assistance Command.
Here we are at Bien Hoa. That's Vietnamese for duck. I'm thrilled to be here in Sniper Valley. I just want to say, you all remember Vietnam? It's that place Huntley and Brinkley are always talking about. Now we're going into Saigon, and I hope I do as well as Henry Cabot Lodge. He got out. What a welcome I got at the airport. They thought I was a replacement. And as we flew in today, they gave us a 21-gun salute. 3 of them were ours. I understand the enemy's very close, but with my act, they always are. Now we're happy to be. You know, I asked Secretary McNamara if I could come here, and he said, why not? We've tried everything else. This is a terrible country for a coward. Can you imagine my not knowing which way to run? You've heard of the NBC peacock? This is the Far Eastern chicken. Incidentally, if there are any Viet Cong in the audience, remember, I already got my shots. No, it's kind of nervous around here because you can't trust anybody. I woke up this morning with a hand at my throat. It was mine. I lathered my face and 3 razors reached out to shave me. But I know quite a bit about Vietnam. For instance, it's a very democratic country. It really is. Everyone gets to be president, and I think that's great. It's thrilling that you turned on this California weather for us. This is great. No, kid, it looks like California, and I love this place. I love the runway you have here. Great golfing country. Even the runway has 18 holes. I think that's... And I want to tell you about our hotel this morning. There was terrific cheering outside my window this morning. I went out on the balcony and took 12 bows before I found out it was a student demonstration. Now, there's very little griping out here. Morale is excellent. I guess everybody found out that the rest area for this base is the Congo. What's slowing down this war, it's the language barrier. Most of the native troops have surrendered a dozen times, but they can't find anyone who understands them. The Viet Cong is really sneaky, they tell me. While I was shaking hands with the general, somebody painted a bullseye on his back. They tell me the Viet Cong will pay $200 for an American GI's head, $500 for a field officer, $1,000 for a general, and for an actor, they'll swap you a little monkey meat even. But I want to tell you, it's great to see so many of you. It was nice of you to give up the movie. I want to thank you for choosing me. I want to thank you for choosing me over Rudolph Valentino. I think that's real nice. Oh, they really show the old movies there. I saw one last night that was so old, Conrad Veidt was on our side. Over here, the Late Late Show is so late it hasn't arrived yet. But don't despair. Things are going to get better. Next week, talkies. And you got me for live entertainment. Let's keep it that way, huh?
At Seoul, Korea, the enemy is often boredom, but it's fought with a special brand of rapid fire before the 8th U.S. Army.
This is Mr. Hope's 5th trip to Korea, and my first time to introduce him. So I would like to now give you the USO Trooper, Bob Hope.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we are in Seoul, Korea, known in the world over as the gateway to the boondocks. for you civilian boondocks is Korean for Disneyland. Don't look at the cars, watch me. I love these guys. This is my 5th trip to Korea. The first 4 times, I didn't believe it. No, the Pentagon sent me here. They thought you'd like a change of enemy. If you keep wondering why I keep coming back to Korea, I can explain it. I have the same travel agent you have. But there's nothing like winter in Korea when the frost is on the pumpkins and the mama-sans are in bloom. I just want to tell you, I don't know how close we are to the enemy, but when you send your laundry out here, it comes back with a fortune cookie in it. And the terrain here is beautiful. It's very hilly. Anyone without a limp is a spy. We had a little trouble landing in Seoul. Somebody stole the runway. At least that's the way it feels when you're flying with a guy who forgets to put the wheels down. I've heard of belly landings, but this has wore out my navel, this one. No, sir, and I'm happy to say Korea hasn't changed. I had a thrilling experience this morning. A kid tried to sell me back my own care package. I understand Santa Claus won't even come here. Last time he visited Seoul, he got rolled. Now, some of these kids really do well. One of them's so rich he wanted to adopt me. Where else would you find a 9-year-old kid with his own Jeep agency? Since I was here last, there's been really some great changes in living quarters. This looks like all fresh mud, I won't tell you that. I was hoping it would snow while I was here. I've never seen white mud before. I've heard about Korean rotation, too. That's where they turn you over and let you freeze the other side. I had a little of your favorite dish, kimchi. I had a little for breakfast. Kimchi, that's cornflakes with Tabasco. It's like swallowing a hot foot. I don't believe it, but somebody told me a GI walked into the chaplain and asked permission to marry a bowl of kimchi. Is that right? I guess it was the hottest thing you could find around here. I tried a bowl of kimchi yesterday, and I've been hip-cupping smoke rings ever since. Every time I burp, I leave a vapor trail. I tried eating it native style, but my chopsticks dissolved. They have their own TV station here and see most of the shows from the States. However, some of them are a little late getting here. I saw one last night where Lucy and Desi are engaged. Lassie hasn't been weaned yet. Sergeant Bilko is still a private. Ozzie and Harriet are expecting. Elliot Ness is still walking a beat. And Chester's on the high school track team.
Lovely Janis Paige and the whole Hope gang stood in the rain in an open hangar at Da Nang and helped Bob help the men of the 23rd Airborne Group to forget that it was raining. They brought the stateside sunshine with them.
Now let's bring out a luscious hunk of doll who's really rocked it from Hollywood to Broadway. She's a girl. Well, why go any further? She's a girl. And believe me, she is. Miss Janis Paige, right here.
I dig wall-to-wall men. Hiya, fellas. What a view. It's no wonder there's no handsome men left in the States. They're all here.
Can't argue with that.
I could just love you all to pieces.
This all comes under the heading of group therapy. Baby, could you play it down an octave?
What's the matter?
Well, we're just visiting. You're not supposed to leave a burned-out crater.
I'm just creating rapport.
Yeah, we'll cool it. When you get on the plane, rapport will get on with you. Hey, Rap. Janis, this is the third trip you've made with me. What keeps bringing you back?
Oh, I don't know, Bob. I guess I'm just some sort of nut.
Well, I hope you brought your own plane because it's a long walk home from here. Especially with the roadblocks they'll put up. Because these guys really dig gals, I want to tell you.
Bob, how come they never made you a general? You know, you're the master planner of all times.
What are you talking about?
Well, you've surrounded yourself with an all-girl cast. There's Jill and Anita and Anna Maria and Miss World.
Well, this way the plane never needs refueling. And what's wrong with bringing a lot of girls? This is an entertainment tour.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be for them.
But they have USO clubs where they can play checkers and ping pong. I understand it's finally going to get open, huh? Hey, look at that audience out there. 1,000 servicemen and 2,000 MPs.
Why so many MPs? They think some of these fellas might go AWOL?
Honey, you couldn't get anybody out of here today with a bulldozer.
Well, Bob, is that a compliment for me?
All yours, honey. You don't have to share it with anybody but your dressmaker.
I know these fellas get lonely for girls, Bob. The MPs just checked our plane for stowaways.
Did they find it? Did they find any?
2 Marines, a sailor, and Colonel Warner.
Yeah, he's about due for a leave. Every time a nurse goes by, his eagles flap.
Listen, before I leave, I better pick out one of these men for my escort tonight.
Well, Janis, I had someone else in mind for you.
Well, thanks, Bob, but I wouldn't want to make the rest of the harem jealous. I'll just pick out one of these men. Now, let me see. Wait for me! Eeny, meeny, miny...
Hold it. If Mo has duty tonight, he'll kill himself. Janis, you're my kind of girl. You got everything. Talent, beauty, and me.
Well, Bob, you're my kind of guy.
No kidding. Man, when you got it, huh? I got so much of it, I can't get it. Well, it's just all over the place.
Yes, you're everything I've ever dreamed of rolled into one big lump.
The men of the 9th Logistical Command never heard of Korat, Thailand before they got there, but Bob's troop found Korat and the GIs.
I just want to say, though, we're all happy to be here with you today. We have a great lineup for you. You know, what a welcome we're getting. Wherever we land, we're met by thousands of cheering servicemen. They think it's Secretary McNamara with his shutdown orders. They closed one base so fast they had to reopen it to get me out. I was locked in the nurses' quarters. After I'd swallowed the key. The Brooklyn Navy Yard was closed, but 700 girls in the neighborhood may reopen it as a private enterprise. No, that's not the way it's meant. Now, where'd you go? I hope they don't close many more bases. I'd hate to think the only thing between us and Russia is John Wayne. But they're really cutting down. I didn't mind it when they gave us an old plane, but when we had to pass the hat for gas, that was too much. I said to the transportation officer, what's the idea of you giving us this obsolete plane? I'm Bob Hope. And he said, you just asked and answered your own question. They're even economizing economizing on the hotline. We've asked Russia to declare war only on Sundays or after 9 p.m. I hope they don't go too far with this economy drive. Wouldn't it be awful if war broke out and we had to call Hertz Rent an Army?
Servicemen have a lot of weird experiences, but Jerry Colonna proved to be one of the weirdest yet as he and Bob parried in the Bayonet Bowl in Korea before the 7th Infantry Division.
Hey, fellas, this is my 5th trip to Korea, and the big thrill for me each time is the sight of you men here in the 1st Cav Division. You know, when I see you sitting out here like this, a couple of times before the guys were sitting in the snow, too. Now, it gives us all an idea of the hardships endured by our men in these far outposts and how uncomplaining and pardon me, sir, but who are you?
I'm the base psychiatrist.
Well, you don't look like a psychiatrist to me. I have a hunch you're a fraud.
That's me, Sigmund Freud.
I think he shrank his own head. What are you doing with a couch in my audience?
You think of a better place to sleep?
On a lonely base like this, what do the men miss most?
Well, I'll have to think about that.
Well, what about women?
Well, fine. My place at 8 o'clock?
You're mad.
Shall we kiss and make up?
Well, if you're really a psychiatrist, I'm sure these servicemen would be interested in some answers. Tell me one thing. Why do you tap a man's knee with that little hammer?
Well, we're not allowed to use meat cleavers.
I see. Well, why do you keep asking if they like girls?
Well, I got a sister-in-law and I'm trying to get rid of her.
Well, tell me, Doctor, what are the symptoms of battle fatigue?
Well, under fire, you'll find some men who will they'll turn tail and run, and they shake and quiver and cry.
Poor wretches. Well, what do you do for them?
Well, nothing. They're the normal ones.
Well, how can you tell when a man is about to wig out?
Well, what are you going to worry about, Hope? You're going home anyhow.
Anyone remember Subic Bay from World War II? Someone did, and the men at the U.S. Naval Base in the Philippines were glad he had.
I just want to say it's wonderful to be here in Subic Bay. This is the biggest flat top I ever worked. See, it's really calm today. I took my Dramamine pills for nothing. Now, and I'd like to thank Admiral Bear for having me piped aboard. I just soon walked in. I don't think I drank that much. And it's nice to see such harmony between the sailors and Marines. That's what I like. Each working side by side in an effort to get transferred somewhere else. They operate the landing field here just like a carrier. I guess our pilot came in a little low. Those arresting cables really sting. Last time we were here, we worked on the deck of the Kitty Hawk. We were going to work it again this year, but I understand a couple of slicky boys stole it. I don't know if it means anything, but in the native village, they're selling television sets that look an awful lot like portholes. I can't get used to all this Navy lingo ashore. They call the floor a deck, the walls a bulkhead, and I always thought a head was something you put a hat on. You know what the Admiral has on each side of his bathtub? One night they had a big rainstorm. A captain stood up in the officers' club and shouted, "Women and children in the lifeboats. I'm going down with a bar," and 3 drinks later he did. Now, I love to be with the Navy because I come from a naval family. It was one of my relatives who said, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead." What'd he care? He was in a blimp at the time. I've always been a great admirer of men who go down to the sea in ships. My grandfather, Horatio Hope, sailed the Pacific on the Bounty. He was Marlon Brando's hairdresser. But I just want to tell you, I'm happy to be back here in the Philippines. Sorry about that. Yes, sir, I have returned. There wasn't enough postage on me when you mailed me home 2 years ago. This is where that famous expression originated. When they asked the GI if he wanted to go to Vietnam or Korea, he said, "I'll take Manila." Now, it's a beautiful place. Do you like that book? It's a beautiful place you got here. This is Hawaii, huh? This wasn't such a long drive from Burbank. I joined the club. No, it's very nice. What a beautiful spot. For punishment, they make you take a 3-day pass. And I love the base insignia, 2 swizzle sticks on a field of salted peanuts. Nah, this is really a country club. The only way they could have an invasion here is for the enemy to make a reservation with a travel agency. They run a tight little base here. We had to circle the field 3 times while they took down the tennis net on the runway. There's a lot of wildlife here, and you don't need a hunting permit. Just a 3-day pass will get it. Yes, sir, this is the Peace Corps in uniform. They can't wait till the weekend to get out among the natives and do a little missionary work. This is tropical country, and there's all sorts of wildlife here. I've heard of a tiger in your tank, but a cobra in your radiator? The big local drink is the native brewed beer. What a taste. You don't know what beer is until you've tasted it fresh from the rubber tree. Thank you very much.
Clark Air Force Base at Manila is part of one of our most important defense perimeters in the Pacific. And there, Hope's troopers confronted the 405th Fighter Wing of the 13th Air Force.
Now, we had a wonderful trip over here. I want to tell you that, considering the plane they gave us. It took off from a kneeling position. We're flying in a BC-135. That's not the model number, that's the year. It's one of the earlier jets. Instead of afterburners, has an oven and a bag of charcoal. Belonged to a 4-star general, Pershing. But it was a fun trip. Every 10 minutes we had community praying. Now, Mats gave us their most experienced pilot. He got 25,000 miles of airtime, many of them in the plane. He was great when we left Los Angeles. After we'd been flying about 5 hours, he stuck his head in the cabin and said, "What's all that water down there?" I said, "That's the Pacific." He turned to the co-pilot and said, "See, you owe me $10. But I didn't say anything. I never argued 40,000 feet with a guy who's got the key to the washroom. Now, this was about the 100th flight I've made across the Pacific, and Mats made quite a ceremony out of it. They bronzed my box lunch. And you know, it tasted better that way. But we're happy to be here. It's my obligation, I think, to spend 3 weeks traveling with Janis, Jill, Anna Maria, Anita, and Miss World. Please, please. No applause. I know you do the same for me. And we got all our shots, some of them we didn't need. No kidding. I got 5 more shots than they have diseases for. This year they combine the shots into one neat package. And when they take the needle out, you got a handy place to keep cigars. My doctor uses a needle the size of a harpoon. I don't mind that, but I wish she'd quit hollering, "There she blows!" I got so many holes in me from the rear, I look like a Russian peace treaty. We always have the same trouble with Colonna. The medics can't figure out which end the shots go in.
Okinawa, and Bob finds the 3rd Marine Division anxious to loosen up those laugh muscles.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we are in Okinawa, a lush tropical island in the beautiful blue Pacific. Land of enchantment, land of happiness, land of contentment. Did you get the feeling our cabin was overpressurized? No, Okinawa is known as the Pearl of the Orient. That's because after 3 months, you're ready to string yourself up. You should see this base. It's a prisoner of war camp for our side. I want to say one thing. Okinawa is a beautiful island. It has thousands of men and very few women. The island's not known for its wildlife. But we're happy to be here. We arrived between rainy seasons. It ended this morning. It doesn't start again until tonight. It does occasionally get a little damp here. I stepped off the plane and disappeared. Now, these guys here have seen quite a bit of action. Last weekend, a whole platoon went to Naha without losing a man. Isn't that great? What are we going to dock? What the hell is that? Today, we're working for one of the toughest Marine outfits in the world. It's the only place I know where the snakes wear helmets. The Marines' motto is Semper Fidelis, which means, I was only kidding, pick up your teeth and let's be friends. These are Amphibious Marines, as any local bartender can tell you. These men are perfectly at home on land or sea. They don't care whether they're swimming or walking, as long as it's toward a girl. We didn't intend to stop here, but we're on our way to Vietnam, and some chicken was dragging his feet. I hope the PX has my size shoes.
Christmas Day, 1964. And there's a special gift-wrapped present for the flight detachment at Tan Son Nhut, Vietnam. A very pretty package named Jill St.John.
Roll cameras. Target.
The head cinematographer just using the clapper? K8. Ooh! Here's a gal who in the last couple of years has become Hollywood's brightest young star. A rare combination of beauty, brains, and talent. The nicest thing I could bring you, Miss Jill St.John, right here. Looks like a big blonde Christmas tree. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Bob. That's a lovely introduction. Well, what did you have to mention my brain for?
Well, don't worry. They'll never notice it. You really have an IQ of 162? That's a coincidence, because that's my golf score. No, that's pretty high for a girl, isn't it?
Oh, being a girl doesn't make any difference.
It doesn't? Should we tell her? 162, that makes you a genius, doesn't it?
Oh, that's what they say.
Well, that's good. These guys have a question that only a genius can answer.
Really?
Yeah, what are they doing here? But I know, honey, that you're getting a thrill out of the reception you receive. How do you feel about working out in front of all these guys?
Well, now I know how Clyde Beatty feels when he drops his chair.
You can relax. They've been fed. Say, how are you enjoying the trip so far?
Well, it's all so exciting. I don't know what to look at first.
Well, these guys are having the same problem.
This is a very important base, isn't it, Bob?
Yes, it is important. Why? What makes you ask?
Well, the MP searched me 12 times today. What do you suppose they were looking for?
Well, I can't imagine. You certainly aren't hiding anything.
Well, that's what I told them.
And what happened?
They searched me again.
Well, some of them are a little overtrained, I must admit.
Well, they're awfully nice boys, but I can't understand why they haven't shown me any of the installations here.
Well, they're too busy looking at yours right now. They'll get around all that. But you know, Jill, I'm thrilled because in your last 3 pictures, you appeared with the world's swingin'est cats, Robert Goulet, Frank Sinatra, and Dean Martin, and now you're with me.
Well, I needed a rest.
She's like the Kong. 1 minute smiling, the next minute she's got a hand grenade in your pocket. Tell us about your career, Jill. How did you get started?
Well, my first job was in radio when I was only 5 years old. I played one of the many children on a show called One Man's Family.
Oh, I remember that show. They were doing Bing's Life and didn't know it. For you younger fellows, One Man's Family was sort of a Saratan Peyton place. And when did you do your first TV show?
Oh, I was a little girl. That was way back in 1948.
1948. Wagon train hadn't left New York yet. And these fellas had just arrived here on temporary duty.
What were you doing when you were 5 years old, Bob?
Trying to get to 6. My mother hadn't cut off my curls. I'd never have made it.
Well, when did you start acting?
Judging by the critics, I haven't yet.
Well, I think you're a great artist. You've got talent you haven't found yet.
I have, huh? Well, don't just stand there. Help me look. Jill, one thing puzzles me about you. How is it a bright young girl like you is always playing dumb redheads in the movies? Isn't it ridiculous?
Well, you're still playing romantic leads, aren't you?
Funny, when she throws you curves, she doesn't miss it. No, I think it's wonderful to have you, and I want to give you all the attention that you desire. And if you,
Thank you, I think.
One meaning to a joke. Now, how about me taking you home after the show?
My mother warned me about you.
Your mother warned you about me? What does your mother know about me?
You took her home once.
I started very young, you know.
You know, last night the most terrible thing happened.
Well, congratulations.
Bob. About 4 o'clock in the morning, a man knocked on my door and wouldn't stop. And he came back 5 times.
6.
On Guam, the 3rd Air Force and Navy Division watched and waited, and it paid off.
Thank you, tourists. All you Guam maniacs. I'm happy to be here on this mid-Pacific divot. You've heard of Hawaii, paradise of the islands. This is Guam, fly speck of the Pacific. I think this whole island has gone Hollywood. Since our cast arrived, I got off the plane and saw a lizard wearing sunglasses. No, but I'm happy to set foot on this island. I thought we were ditching. You know, it's funny. From up at 30,000 feet, Guam is just a little blip on the radar screen, but when you get down here, it's really not that important. I asked the pilot if we'd have a little trouble finding a little island like Guam, and he said, oh, no, we have sonar, radar, and we can follow the empty beer cans in with the tide. I'm happy to be here in this jungle paradise where the two major sports are typhoon ducking and fungus training. No, the expression Guam is good was invented by a GI here. I'd like to congratulate him, but a psychiatrist won't let him have visitors. Oh, it's a beautiful sight. But Guam is very strategic. That's a Pentagon term, meaning keep them there till we figure out what to do with them. It's true, Japanese soldiers still show up here occasionally. They come here to get new batteries for their American transistors. This is our last stop on our way home. Actually, it wasn't even scheduled, but we had to make an emergency landing. The band lost its toothbrush. And I bring you news from Vietnam. Stay here. But I just want to tell you, I look forward to these annual trips. It gives me a chance to meet the guys who are doing so much for our country, and it gives you a chance to meet a guy who's glad you're doing it. Thank you very much.
At Da Nang in Vietnam, Jerry Colonna helped the GIs of the 23rd Airborne Group forget the war for a while.
One of the things that has impressed me most on this tour are the dedicated people like yourselves who have had the courage to, hey, wait a minute, back up there. What is that, a tree?
Shh! You'll wake up the termites.
I've never seen a tree with a mustache before. Why are you wearing that ridiculous outfit?
Supply sergeant drinks. Actually, I'm an instructor in guerrilla warfare.
Oh, that's rough. Where'd you learn to fight dirty?
Been married 15 years.
Well, tell me, Fuzzface, how did you get to be a guerrilla fighter?
I volunteered. It's a lot safer than my last job.
Yeah, what was that?
Driving a cab in Saigon.
I know I'm a fool to ask, but does it take much to be a guerrilla fighter?
No, just you and a mean gorilla.
I'd like to see what goes on in your head.
Okay, but no smoking.
Why don't you go back in the jungle and draw a little sniper fire?
I don't have to. Last night for 3 solid hours, I was face to face with a Kong.
Viet Cong?
No, King Kong. He was on the Late Late Show.
You know, Professor, you haven't changed an iota.
Can't help it. My laundry is late. Hey, by the way, Hope, how much longer are you going to be on there?
Oh, about 5 minutes. Why?
Oh, I got to get out of here.
Well, wait, what's the hurry?
I want to beat the rush, the sick call.
Now, Trang is not Brooklyn or Kansas City or San Francisco, but for a little while, the men of the 1st Special Forces and 5th Special Forces could have been mistaken.
Warriors from the Trang would like to present to you, your troop and your crew, the Warriors from Hollywood, VC machine gun.
VC machine gun. It's a little late, Colonel. We're almost finished, you know. Maybe we could sell this to the next unit. I can't, to just point it down here. I can't see where your other hand is. No, I just think it's wonderful, and, Just coming here is reward enough just to get here, and we're very thrilled at the chance to see all you guys are doing this wonderful job down here. And we wish you a great, great holiday season.
Lovely Anita Bryant wanted to look at the 23rd Airborne Group at Da Nang. She looked, and they looked back. They won the looking contest.
I've never seen MPs wear lipstick before. How about that? That was rough duty, wasn't it? I want to tell you, that was just great, Anita.
Oh, thank you, Bob.
You have a beautiful voice.
Oh, thanks again.
Beautiful face, beautiful figure. What's a girl like you doing in show business?
Oh, I couldn't think of anything better to do.
Good girl.
Tall, handsome, loaded with talent.
Take your time.
What's a fellow like you doing in show business?
Oh, I don't know, but you've made my day. Anita, this is your 5th trip with me, isn't it?
Yes, this is number 5.
What makes you keep coming back year after year?
Oh, because you're adorable, you're charming, and you're utterly irresistible.
There you are, folks, another unsolicited testimonial.
And if you don't believe him, there it is, right on the idiot card.
You bad girl. You're gonna love flying home by bus.
No, Bob, I make these tours with you because I feel I'm accomplishing something. I feel like I'm sharing the holiday with a lot of good friends. Well, how about you? How come you make these trips?
Well, it takes me my mind off my real racket, golf.
Oh, you're joking, Bob. These trips are rough. I mean, you sure have amazing stamina for a man of 42.
Bless you. But quit right there. The way you're going, you'll have me drafted. How did you get started in show business, Anita?
Well, I won a beauty contest. Isn't that the usual way?
Well, it's not how I got started.
Well, then an agent got interested in me.
That didn't happen to me.
He promised me everything under the sun.
That neither.
And all the time, he just wanted to marry me.
Really?
Well, I suppose you had a lot of trouble getting your first break, too.
No, my agent was already married. But, Anita, I couldn't think of anyone I'd rather see on these trips, and I hope you'll be back next year entertaining the troops.
Well, what about you? Aren't you coming?
I'm staying home and having them delivered. Thank you very much.
At Tan Son Nhut, Vietnam, Lieutenant General William Westmoreland, head of all our forces in Vietnam, took time out to pay the whole gang a tribute.
It gives me great pleasure to present this time General W.C. Westmoreland.
Oh, wonderful. Welcome.
Welcome yourself. Mr. Hope, first I'd like to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much.
I bet you've never had one like it quite before.
I don't think there's ever been a war like this before.
Well, I don't think we've had a Christmas quite like this before, and certainly it's been made more enjoyable under these difficult circumstances by your presence. I would like to thank you and your associates for your presence and for a very wonderful show. And finally, Mr. Hope, I would like to present you a small token of our appreciation in the form of a plaque which reads as follows. This is from the United States Military Assistance Command, Vietnam, 1964. Presented to Bob Hope in sincere appreciation for his services to the U.S. forces in Vietnam. Thanks for the memories.
Thank you very much. That's about as nice a trophy as I've ever received, but I must share this with every one of these people here, because without these people, we couldn't do a show, and this kind of a show, and these great gals and all these great artists, these great stars that stand here, all of them.
Why do they do it? Why do they travel thousands of miles to remote places to entertain our GIs overseas? The Hope show business troopers, armed with their talent and wit, don't want any profound analysis. All they ask is another plane schedule that works at least part of the time. They know the need is there. They know that the big show must go on, and when it does, where it does, so do they. And that's the magic of Hope. Bob, that is.